of whether we share it in
Okay.
space. Um, we've got 20 minutes, so we'll finish at 9:35. Um, and we've already spoken really about what you're going to bring, so I won't go into that now. So we know that this is a very much a here and now um, conversation. And yeah, are you up for just sharing? So just in a nutshell, what is it that you're bringing today?
Okay, so I have been going through a lot of changes over the last 2 years, and those changes continue. And at the moment, uh, I feel I feel a little bit nervous about the fact that I'm about to publish my autobiography. It seems a very strange thing to do. I feel a little bit anxious that I might not be able to find anywhere to live. I'm looking for a house at the moment and struggling with that. And I'm a little bit confused about what I'm going to do once these things are sorted out. And I I've had a really interesting couple of years. Uh, I don't remember a period like this ever in my life before, where there's just been so much big change, and it's still continuing, and I don't quite know where it is all leading. And
Mm,
just a little tiny bit of history for a minute. I I went into semi-retirement, so I gave up my career of, I don't know, 40 years or whatever, left Germany, which had been my home for 16 years. As I came back to England, after looking at lots of other countries, we chose England, expected to have some kind of reverse culture shock where it was, because England had changed, I'd changed, I didn't quite know what I was coming back to. But as soon as I got back here, I had a cancer diagnosis. So I
mm,
had that was actually a wonderful way to get to know England again because I was on regular. It's all right. It's good news. It all sorted
mhm,
itself out, so no need to feel sad. But it meant that I was in regular contact with the hospital, maybe 3 times a week. I was talking to nurses and doctors for, I don't know, maybe 9 months or so.
mm,
And then when I got the all clear from the cancer and all that was sorted, I thought, well, what do I do now? That's really occupied my life. And that was when the change really began. The new chapter really began of coming back to England. And then for the last, I don't know, it's less than a year since all that was sorted out. So since then I've been trying lots of things. I started up a YouTube channel and documented all of that, the changes, that moving from Germany, the cancer stuff. And then and I've stopped doing the YouTubing now, and because I thought, oh, I don't know what I'm going to talk about anymore. So I've sort of lost my way a bit with that.
mm,
I keep trying things out. I'm running a book club. I'm volunteering at a library. I've joined uh, Toastmasters to try and improve my communication skills. I'm trying out church, going to church, but I'm not sure where that's leading. So I'm kind of experimenting and trying out lots of things, but I don't
mm,
really understand where it's all going. And I've got a
mm,
certain amount of anxiety about all of that. And so I thought perhaps we could have a conversation and maybe I don't know. I haven't got massive expectations from this discussion because there's only so much you can cover in 20 minutes. But I'm just looking for a way to feel a bit calmer and a bit better about my
mm,
situation. I think there's a
mm,
lot of positives in what's going on in my life, but it all just
mm,
feels very messy at the moment. And
mm.
yeah, so sorry, I've said a lot there. I don't know whether that clarifies it, whether that, yeah.
Yeah, no apology needed. No, that's absolutely great. It's given me a real flavour for where you're at and what you're bringing. So, would I be right in saying then, so a good outcome for you? We've only got, a short time, but for you to feel a bit better about, calmer about the circumstances as they are. So it's not about looking for a solution to the circumstance. It's like, how do I keep myself steady when all of this is going on around me?
Yeah, and to feel a bit more comfortable with it and to have a bit more trust in the fact that things will work out, that somehow
Mm,
or other this is all going to sort itself out and come together, and that I'm not doing
yeah.
anything wrong. It's just this is just
Mm,
life, isn't it? It's just we
yeah.
go through these different stages in our lives where things change, and this is just part of that, I think. In fact, now I'm saying that, I'm feeling a bit better. But yeah, um,
Yeah, it's a huge amount, a huge amount of change in a relatively short period of time.
mm,
Uh, Retirement, or semi-retirement, is huge. The shifting away from that identity of whoever you were in work and whatever you filled your time with, to your time becoming your own. Shifting country,
mm,
having a cancer diagnosis. Amazing that everything is good for you now and you've had the all clear, but nonetheless, that kind of diagnosis is incredibly unsettling.
yeah,
Um, and then to be in a position now where you're still not quite sure where your next permanent home is going to be. So there's a lot of uncertainty. I think it's incredible that you're here talking to us, holding yourself upright, celebrating that.
thank you. Yeah, and you mentioned the word identity. I mean, it's that is another thing. I people ask me what I do, and I don't know how to answer. I don't know whether to say I am retired or I'm not, because actually I think I want to work, but I don't know what work I want to do. And I've sort of, at the moment, sometimes it feels like I'm too busy to work. But, because coming back to the UK, we've realised we got off the property ladder for a long time. And now we're struggling to find a house in our budget. And so it's made me think, actually, we're not financially secure for our retirement, really. I should do some more, but I haven't figured that out either yet. So that's why I also thought about freelancing this year, but I'm not. Yeah, it's all there's just too much going on at the moment, and it's hard for me to make any concrete plans. Um, I think I need to
Yeah,
allow
so
some of the uncertainty to unfold first so I can be a bit clearer about where I'm going. But yeah.
that sounds really wise. Yeah, to to resist introducing something else new into the mix until there's a little bit more kind of steady ground.
Mm, yeah. And I mean, it's the first time I've ever lived in Devon. And when I do
Mm,
occasionally look at jobs, it's things like working in a bar or in a restaurant. And that's not really me, I don't think. I did it when I was younger, but I don't want to go back to a big city and have commuting and all of that. So yeah, I am confused. I don't
mm,
know, and I also don't know how much of a financial commitment to make towards the house because I'm not sure whether I want to put myself in a position where I have to work and where I have to perhaps go to London or something again.
mm,
But I'm also, because I've not been working for 18 months, a lot's changed with AI, and I'm not sure. I think employers would probably want to go for someone who's maybe younger and more ambitious than me as well. So I have all that kind of doubt in my mind as well.
mm.
Sorry, I didn't want to turn this into a therapy session, but um,
No, it's not. It's just really bringing up, so there's a lot of questions at the moment. There is a lot of uncertainty, and that's what we're doing, isn't it? We're going like, well,
yeah,
actually, there's all of these things. All of these things are going on, and none of them feel like I know where they're going yet.
no,
So I have, I guess, a couple of questions to begin with. Do you have these written down anywhere? So these different areas of your life, have you done anything around sort of writing, having them in one place, kind of a repository for the uncertainty almost?
no, I haven't. I mean, the only thing I did up until a couple of months ago was start making YouTube videos about it, but that was kind of my way of handling it was I would just talk to the camera about it whilst I was out hiking, for example. But no, I've not written it down, and because I don't make the videos anymore, I'm not recording anything anyway. Do you think that could be helpful then? And
I've
maybe
got a couple of different journaling practices that I use that I find really helpful. So
yeah.
I have so I do morning pages, which is from the Artist's Way, which is three sides of A4 stream of conscience in the morning. So it just
Mm,
brings everything out. I don't do it every morning, but if I wake up and I'm unsettled, then that's what I do because it just helps move it from me and onto the page.
yeah.
So yeah, so that's one of the things that I do. Um, yeah, there's lots of different ways of journaling, but for me, moving the thoughts from swirling around in my head onto page really does make a difference. And there's something about the act of physically writing that I
Mm,
think helps that kind of whooshy energy to
yeah.
move through. Um,
Maybe I could try that. I mean, one of the difficulties I have is I'm very focused and I'm good at concentrating on something like writing my book. I'm really focused on that, but I'm not very good at. I don't have very good healthy habits, I would say. So if I start journaling, I don't know whether I would keep doing it every day. But I do need to learn to have that discipline. Because there are things, for example, exercise that I need to do for various reasons, but it's very ad hoc and sporadic. I'll just force myself to go for a run one day, but it's not like every Tuesday at 5 I go for a run. And I do need to develop some structure to my life. I think that since I've stopped work, I've lost all structure and all discipline, and I just wake up and do things randomly. But but that's a bad excuse. I've heard people talking about journaling, but I've not tried it myself. So maybe I'll give that a go and see if that helps. Sorry, there was a second.
some
Oh, sorry, yeah, go on.
there was a second question, but I might do this one first,
Okay.
because there is something about that, like having the absence of any kind of formal structure in your day, isn't there?
Mm,
I've had that before, and it's you kind of like the time is all your own. So what am I going to do with that? What am I going to
yeah.
do now? And that can take a particular kind of energy. Um, yeah, I wonder. See, you've talked about the uncertainty and this and the anxiety, the worry that that can bring. Does it always feel like that, or are there times when it feels quite different?
It feels quite different. So my moods are very sort of changeable. Sometimes I'm quite excited and feel really good about it. Sometimes I feel quite depressed. Sometimes
Mm,
I feel anxious. I'd say anxiety is probably the most familiar kind of feeling I have. It's with me. I'm quite often feel tense.
mm,
Um, and I don't always know why I feel tense, but I sometimes struggle to relax in the evenings, for example, and that kind of thing.
mm.
Um,
Do you have any strategies that you use when you're feeling that anxiety? Is there anything that you've tried before that has helped you in the past?
well, I spoke to TalkWorks, which by the way I can highly recommend. They're available in Devon, and they were
Mm,
really helpful. They helped me to understand myself and my some of my challenges. Um, I go hiking, that helps. Although I do
mm,
that because my wife pushes me. I have to give her the credit for that. I go running, which also helps. But again, I always, I love running, but I never want to go running. I always have to push myself, and and it ends up being, yeah, I just go when I feel like it. But yeah, that helps. Reading helps, but oh, and the most recent thing, my daughter got me into this, the New York Times puzzles. So I don't quite know why we picked the New York Times, but but they're, yeah, doing things like Wordle and crosswords helps me.
Mm.
But honestly, quite often I end up having a glass of wine or eating chocolate or doing things that I really shouldn't be doing, or just suffering with it. Yeah.
Mm. Okay. So I wonder if there's conversation to be had about getting, yeah, what would it be for you? What would help you get some more structure in, do you think? Or to make those, like, let's take the running, for example. Is there a way of making the running more routine so you don't have to kind of get yourself into that, forcing it? Is there anything you could think that might help with that?
Maybe what you said about writing it down. Perhaps I could write some kind of timetable for the week, um, and put it on my wall in front of my computer and stick to it. That might be it. It might make it feel more formal then, or more structured. Because at the moment I make things up as I go along, but perhaps
Mm.
writing it down would help actually. Yeah, I could do
Might be
that.
something to play around with.
And
It takes a
also,
certain amount of energy to be making it up as you go along all the time. That can get quite
yeah,
exhausting.
the other thing I thought, again, this is related to my health issues or my cancer that I had. The the nurse recommended to me Pilates, which I've never heard of, but it's for strengthening my core muscles. So maybe joining a class and doing that, paying for it. When you've paid for something, I find for me, then I'll stick to it more. So I've paid for me Toastmasters, so I go on Wednesday evenings. So maybe if I pay for a, I don't even know what Pilates is, but the nurse mentioned it last week. Maybe if I do something like that as well, and again write it down, it goes on my chart. Because strangely enough, even though I've got so much free time, I quite often get into a mess with appointments because I never know when I'm available and when I'm not available because everything is so random,
Mm.
um, and unstructured.
Mm.
Uh, so yeah, I think I'll do that. I think I'll do that. I'm going to write it down on a chart and put it on my wall.
Kind of give yourself a bit of a timetable
Yeah,
and yeah, see where a Pilates class might fit into that.
yeah, yeah.
I'm hearing some uncertainty. You're like,
No,
we're
no,
like,
no,
yeah,
no. The uncertainty is me thinking my brain is working away,
mhm,
thinking I need to do this.
okay.
It might also make me feel a bit better about, because I actually do quite a lot. It might make me feel better about how I spend my time. My children laugh at me a little bit because they've got very stressful jobs, and they ask me what I've done today, and yeah, they find it quite amusing that I say I've read a book or yeah,
Sounds wonderful. And yeah, you're making the life your own, aren't you?
yeah.
So yeah, really exciting but also discombobulating place to be in.
That's a nice word.
Um,
Yes, yeah.
yeah. Okay. So we're coming up towards the end of our time together.
Hmm.
Um, so what would you say your takeaways from the session are?
Well, the main one is I'm going to write. I mean, first of all, I feel better just by talking about it. I feel better, and
Mm.
I feel better because as I talk, I realize that I'm doing more than I think I'm doing. Um, and actually, rather than feeling bad about myself, I should be proud of myself for all the things all the challenges I've overcome and all the things I'm trying to do at the moment. But the main takeaway in terms of actions is to have a go at writing down what my typical week is. Um, and I'll have a go at journaling. I'll put the journaling on my on my timetable and try it out for a couple of weeks. It takes a while to develop a habit, doesn't it? You kind of have to stick with it for a few weeks before it becomes part of your routine. And maybe that's where I've fallen down a little bit, actually, is I haven't stuck with things long enough. But yeah, but that would be my main takeaway. I think.
Amazing. Great. Well, I wish you all the best for that. I might pop some different journaling techniques into the online space,
Thank you. Yeah.
because there's a few that I use different things for different times depending on what's going on for me. So I'll share some of those, but there are loads around, loads of different ways of doing it.
What
So,
would be really helpful is if in 2 weeks' time you ask me how you're getting on with your journaling.
okay. All
Yeah.
right. I
Is
can
that
do that.
on the timetable? And do you
Yeah.
mind?
No worries. Not at all. Not at all.
Bit cheeky
Okay.
of me, but yes.
Not cheeky. Note made. 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing. All right, brilliant. Thank you so much, Chris,
Oh, no,
for
thank you.
stepping up to the plate and for just sharing so openly. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate the trust that you've put in me um to allow this to happen. So yeah, really appreciate it.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much.
Great. Thank you.
I'm gonna